Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's Source Snack Break. I'm Brittany McLean. I'm the Director of Membership here at Source, and I'm joined by Beth Gish from the Mohawk Group. Welcome, Beth.
Thank you.
Great to
Glad
have
to be
you
here.
here. Perfect. Well, everybody, today it's Wednesday, August 25th, 2021. I looked it up. It's also National Banana Split Day. I have not thought about banana splits in a long time. So there's your fun snack fact for the day. Just so you know, if, for those of you who have maybe not been on a snack break before, you've been muted automatically, but we definitely want to keep the conversation going. So you'll see on the right hand of your screen a chat box. You're welcome to test it out now. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Throw in your favorite emoji. Let us know what you like on your banana split. And you can also use this throughout the presentation to ask questions. So as Beth is sharing today about some of the cool work that they're doing with the Waterways Project and some new products, feel free to put in questions and we will do our best to ask those along the way. And we'll also save a couple minutes at the end if we weren't able to address those right away during the presentation time. So Beth, to get us started, could you just do a quick introduction of yourself and tell us a little bit about how long you've been with Mohawk Group, and then we can dive right into things.
Sure. My name is Beth Gish, and I'm with Mohawk Group. I've been with Mohawk. This is going on my 11th year. It'll be 11 years in November. So, um, love the industry. Obviously, I was in textile before that and contract furniture before that. Um, and what else about me? Oh, I'm married and I have two daughters, a 19-year-old and 16-year-old. So they keep me busy as well.
Nice. Soccer players too, right? If I remember.
Yes. Yep.
That's
They
fun.
are. Yeah, we're soccer. I'm a soccer mom.
I love it. I love it. And soccer season right now?
Yes, the both the high school and the college season are starting. My older daughter is down in Dallas, Texas at SMU playing soccer there.
Cool.
And my younger one is just starting her high school season here in Portland.
Oh, I love that. So fun. Perfect.
Yeah,
Well, I'm going to make your slides a little bigger and we'll get going on the presentation. Thanks, Beth.
great. Thank you. So I'm very excited to share
Oh, wow.
some new initiatives and new products with everyone today. The Waterways Project is our pet project at Mohawk Group for this year in 2021. It came about in really looking at the development of product and how we are impacting the planet. River health is human health, and so as we dived a little bit deeper into looking at how we manufacture and how we can save and reduce and reuse, we were really inspired by the work that the Waterkeeper Alliance and Riverkeepers Alliance was doing. So you'll see as we go why we decided to embark on this journey with them. So let's go ahead and we'll get started. The first collection that was inspired by this whole initiative is called Datatide. It's basically the convergence of freshwater and saltwater, giving us inspiration in pattern, texture, color. I don't know if you all know this. I didn't know this before we started this initiative, but blue carbon is basically the area where saltwater and freshwater meet near, the world's oceans, and they capture more carbon out of the environment than actual forests do.
For that.
So, yeah, yeah, that was a big shock. And so, if you take that information and realize, okay, of course, forests are really, really, really important, but waterways are equally, or if not more important, to restore and make sure that they're balanced and healthy. So, the Datatide Collection came about from looking at data about waterways, and then literally the digital images on that computer screen that you can see. I don't know if it's a little bit hard to see, but those became inspiration for, like, wow, those could be really cool patterns and repeats in a textile made into carpet. So we basically took data and translated into, okay, how does that relate to waterways and natural formations that you see, an overhead shot here of the ocean and rivers converging. All of these products in this collection are living product certified. They're made in our Glasgow, Virginia manufacturing facility. So not only Datatide, but the rest of these carpet collections are not only red list free, but living product certified. Okay, so let's take a little closer look at some of the patterns. Aqua Rhythm and River Code are two of the patterns you can see here in this installation shot. Really nice play of pattern and texture. There's a little bit of a tip shear in the Aqua Rhythm, which is not as common anymore. We used to use it a lot 20 years ago, but nice to see some of the tip shear coming back. And it really does show a little bit how light filters through water. The collection is made up of 3 patterns total: Aqua Rhythm and Biome and River Code.
Beautiful.
So I'll go ahead and advance. Aren't they pretty? And they're all, of course, designed to work together. You can either do a single one of those patterns, or you can play with them in different installation applications. This one happens to be Aqua Rhythm just on its own in one colorway, and which is kind of interesting. You think, oh gosh, it looks like 2 or 3 patterns going on, and that's something that should be noted. It's intentional. The repeat on this before it's cut into carpet tiles is large enough that you're going to get some variation from tile to tile, and they're meant to play with each other symbiotically and just go together. This next photo installation shot is Aqua Rhythm and River Code together, and again, no 2 tiles are exactly alike, so you're going to get a lot of movement.
Recommendations for if somebody's writing their spec on this for the installation with regard to that pattern? Is there anything to note?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I would say early on, order 3 or 4 samples from me so that we get a good representation of what it's going to look like. I also have this. I think this is a really good tool to kind of look at. If you look at these 2 patterns, Aqua Rhythm and River Code, up in the upper left-hand corner, 549 Wetland is the first colorway. Mm-hmm. You can see there's kind of a light version and a dark version, and that's definitely, you should expect a lighter version and a dark version overall. So there will be, value shift just within that one single SKU.
This is super helpful reference.
Yeah, so you would need to kind of go into it knowing that that's the look that you want. We have tons of other products that if you want it to be really consistent, we can recommend those, but this is definitely meant to be varied throughout the installation. Yeah, that's a really good question. I know, and it's really important to see the differences in Biome, which is just this really nice kind of cross-hatch textural piece. It's also good to see the variation in color, some more than others, depending on the colorway. And then another really nice installation shot of just River Code. It's a little bit quieter pattern, but still
it's a very timeless
variation.
Look, that one.
Yeah. Okay. And then this next one, Biome. You can do some really fun things with the installation method. We've just kind of done our basket weave of this one. This illustrates really well the variation. That's just one colorway, 549 Wetland, but you can see we have a decidedly light and a dark version. And again, I mentioned earlier that this is a Living Product Challenge certified product. The place, energy, water petal, health and wellness, materials petal, equity, and beauty all go into the Living Product Challenge. And I think that everybody, especially in the Northwest region, cares deeply about this type of thing.
Yeah, that's great.
So
that Mohawk is investing in that as well.
Yeah. One thing that's worth mentioning is not only these collections that I'm showing you today, but all of our carpet tile products are manufactured in our site in Glasgow, Virginia. That site is a living site certified as a living site. So every product that comes out of there becomes a living product certified product. And of course, that means that they're all red list free, et cetera, et cetera. Wanted to mention too that we have some really nice coordinated solutions. to go with carpet tile that we didn't always have in the past. Especially popular is the Elemental Edges collection, which is a vinyl or rubber base collection. And it comes in, different heights, and it can either be straight, which you see in this photograph, or coved. And we have like over 60 colors to choose from. So just know that that's in stock, and it is about 63 cents a lineal foot, and it rides for free freight wise, with your
Perfect. That's great to know.
with your order. So
it's helpful to have that already, something that's designed to work together. Saves time.
Exactly. Yeah. Color wise, yeah, it's nice to have it coordinated. The next collection is called Crossing Currents, also inspired, of course, by waterways and our relationship to waterways. One of the nice features about this particular collection is it's made on our EcoFlex matrix backing. That's a dematerialized backing. It's thinner, and the overall finished height is a 2.5 millimeter gauge thickness. So it seams beautifully and transitions without a need for a transition strip with our 2.5 millimeter gauge LVTs and other flooring, sheet vinyls and stuff like that. So, so Crossing Current is made up of two different patterns: Filtering Form and Refined Pass. In this photograph, you can see kind of various colors, and we'll take a closer look at some installation shots here next. So this one is Refined Pass. You can see a really nice color pop. It's almost like a watercolor brush. These patterns in the Crossing Current collection are meant to kind of simulate how water filters from the top, looking down above a body of water, down to the surface, down to the bottom of a pond or a lake. Kind of that, I don't want to say muddy, but you could variable things like reflecting back up. You could see like little shiny glints coming back up, or you might see some kind of just overall ground. So kind of an interesting play of how that reflects back up. This is Filtering Form. This one doesn't have the color accent in it, but it's just mostly a light and dark. This is in color 989 Dakota.
I love
kind of
that
a nice
variation in color. It really, has a nice movement to it.
It does. It brings life to it, and it just, and movement without being super, super busy and loud. This is a nicely priced collection too, at about $16 a yard. So, yeah. And another installation shot showing the two different patterns together in conjunction. You can kind of see we start with one on the left and we kind of fade over to the other pattern on the right. And this is a closer look at the colorways. Filtering Form comes in 8 different colorways. And then the next Refined Pass also comes in 8 coordinating colorways.
Beautiful. I love that one in the upper left, the Jennings. That's gorgeous.
I do too. And navy seems to be coming back, not just sticking to the neutrals of, the beige or the dark charcoal or blacks. We're really seeing a lot of navy come back, and this one is a particularly pretty one. Okay, and then this next collection is called Shape and Flow. Also has really beautiful seamless transitions because it's using the EcoFlex matrix backing, again, 2.5 millimeter gauge thickness. The unique thing about this collection, on all of these, it's true of all of these so far, they're mergeable dye lots too. So you could use various dye lots in one installation and not have an issue of color match. So they're intended to be mergeable the way that we've designed it in. Then unique to Shape and Flow is this yarn system that we've come up with that is really, really industry changing. We just have these 4 colorways that we're showing in this slide so far. But these basically are space-dyed yarns without using all of the water and the energy that's used historically in making space-dyed yarns. I don't know if everyone's aware, but space-dyed yarns historically you would have white yarn, and it would start out as white yarn, and then it runs through different dye baths. And depending on how many colors you have along your strand, maybe 6 or 8 colors, it would go into 6 or 8 dye baths. Well, that takes a lot of water and a lot of energy and then a lot of waste. So we came up with a way to make space dyed yarns without using any water. Yeah, so this is a game changer as far as how this yarn is made. It's a solution dyed yarn, and while it's still in its pellet state, and then just as it's extruded into a yarn, so basically picture, heat and pressure applied to these fiber pellets. The pigment is then added to the material at that time along the strand. So you're getting, we call it color pulse because it really literally pulses the pigment into the strand as it's being pulled down the line. And literally no water is used. And with our waterways project, just with this collection alone, we're estimating that we will be saving about 5.3 million cups of water by just specifying this
and
product.
That's yearly, right? Is what I see. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yearly, annually, yeah, based on, yeah. So we're very excited about this. We'll be having more colors, more space dyed, color pulse yarns coming out later this year. But for now, we have just these 4 colors to work with. And this collection, of course, was developed using those yarns. We have 2 patterns in Shape and Flow called Flux Foundation and Flux Play. One you can see is a larger scale, a lot of movement, and then the other one's smaller scale, just a really nice stria.
Pretty.
And you can see we went from a really nice saturated colorful one to a really quiet kind of tonal one, but that multicolors along the strand give it a lot of depth and a lot of movement without being loud if it's even just in a tonal color. And then we'll take a little closer look at the different colorways. We go in the upper left, that really beautiful navy, and then the more colorful in hydric, and then on to the neutrals. And that's the Flux Foundation. And then Flux Play, the larger scale pattern. Again, same colorways, all meant to coordinate. And these coordinate beautifully with some of our existing lines too, that are not space dyed yarns. So you'll find a lot of opportunity to coordinate in and among the different collections. It's also a living product, just like I mentioned, because it comes out of our Glasgow, Virginia plant, which is a living site. And yeah, that's it for the Shape and Flow. Then I wanted to also share with you guys Living Local. It's called Living Local because we make it here in the US. I'm super excited to say we have a lot of our LVTs that have been switched over from offshore manufacturing to being manufactured in our Dalton, Georgia facility. So we have 5 different patterns or collections within the Living Local overall overarching collection: Chromoscope, Optic Hues, Stonework, Terrazzo, and Wood. And they're somewhat self-explanatory, but let's take a closer look at what those look like. So you can get a nice little shot here of the Chromoscope. It's not just a solid, it has a little bit of variation in the patterning, almost like a polished concrete or a colored concrete look. And again, really beautiful seamless transitions with all of our EcoFlex matrix backed products, carpet tile. And they do seam up really nicely with most broadlooms as well. Here's a nice installation shot of using 2 different colors of the Chromoscope.
I love that kind of copper toned one too. That's unique. I haven't, it's really nice.
Something like that, yeah. Here's a nice shot of the range of colors. So you do have a really good selection of neutrals, and then you kind of move into the pops of color. We're seeing this, really popular, of course, like in K through 12, but we're also seeing a little bit more color come into just even workplace environments or even healthcare. part of our trend study that we also do, and the color work is telling us that coming out of this pandemic, or having been in it, and we're still in it, we're all looking for hope and optimism, and color tends to do that for us. So you'll be seeing a lot more color come into play in a lot of our launches. Here's a nice neutral installation in kind of a basket weave, which I think is really pretty. And then this next one is called Optic Hues. This was inspired by the concept of rendered reality, where nothing is quite as it seems. And with this particular pattern, depending on your vantage point and kind of when you see it in a full installation, it's hard to tell that it's LVT. You kind of look at it and think, is that a carpet or is it a hard surface material? So again, Optic Hues is the name of this collection, of this pattern. And we have two different colors in this installation shot, tea tan and verdigris. It's kind of a fun way to delineate the space. Yeah. Here's a nice range of color you can see in the Optic Hues pattern. I love that navy again in chromoscope. Look at Patina Night. And then we'll carry us through, and we'll go a little bit further in and take a look at this next part of the collection. Stonework, kind of just how it sounds, has a lot of variation, just like natural stone has. So depending on the colorway that you're choosing, you might have something that looks a little bit more like granite, or a little bit more like a marble, or honed, stone type of material. I think this installation shot does a nice job of showing kind of the possibilities of what you can do. This is Stonework, the pattern, but then using 3 different colorways. We do have a visualizer tool also that we can help lay stuff out so that we can show and provide installation drawings, for bid sets and all that. So if you are interested in kind of playing with the different products and the different colorways, but not sure how that layout is going to be articulated in a construction document, don't hesitate to ask us to lay it out for you. And then this next installation shot uses just
that kind of giant patchwork almost. It's really beautiful.
Exactly. Kind of a fresh take on that geometry of the square. And then this next pattern called Terrazzo is just as it sounds. It's kind of a redo on a classic style, Terrazzo. It's a little bit magnified in scale. And we have both some really good neutrals and some really great pops of color.
Fun.
And this will also give you a nice seamless transition with carpet material as well. I love this layout, how they've just used some really great neutrals to delineate the space.
Yeah, I do like the scale too, like you say, and it's a little bit oversized on the pattern. I think that worked really
good. Yeah, makes it the movement a little bit more distinct. And this is the color palette for Terrazzo. So it shows really nice color pops. You can see that great orange and the navy. There's even like a kind of a teal. And then you go into kind of the darker background ones too. So
beautiful.
Yeah, isn't it pretty? I love it. It's been popular so far, and we've just launched it. So. Okay. And then last but not least, we do have the wood collection. We've had the wood version out for a while, but again, we just love to reinforce the idea that this is made here in the US, has some really great, natural wood look visuals, everything from like a maple like you see here, onto stuff that has a little bit more knots in it and a little bit more textural.
Pretty. I love it.
Thank you. I think this installation shot's kind of fun too. I love
how they sectioned off that senior but kept like the pattern. That's so cool.
Yeah, kind of transitioned it in, and you got both the warm and cool, which of course always, I don't know. I just love whenever you can find a warm and
Mhm.
cool combo. It's a great thing. So it's worth mentioning that all of these products are made with our M Force. It's a complete performance system for our LVT. It's basically a three-part layer. You know, you have your base layers, but then you have a three-part in your finish layer, which when you put all of those together, provide just an amazing, durable, it resists scratches, stains, dents, and wear. But it doesn't forego the really clear visual that you get sometimes, you know, in previous generations of products. I know that have been out in the market, it's hard to get the performance, but still have a really clear, crisp visual because it kind of clouds the print film. Anyway, the technology has come a long way, and it brings you both the performance and
Love
the
it.
beautiful aesthetic. Thank you. And again, we have all kinds of installation inspirations, and we do have tools that we can provide if you do need us to lay something out for you. Don't hesitate to just reach out and we'll
Perfect.
do it for you.
And I know we're getting close on time here, so I haven't seen any questions come in, but if you do have questions, now would be the time to put those into the chat. Gotten lots of good feedback on the colors and the patterns so far, Beth, from everybody here. And again, if you would like
Mhm.
a copy of these slides to take a look at, Beth's contact information will pop up when we wrap up here, and you can certainly reach out to her. And just so you are aware as well, this recording will be sent to you afterwards. So if you had to step away or want to come back and reference anything, you'll be getting a copy of that automatically. I don't see any questions coming through. I'm going to put our faces back on the screen here too. See,
Great.
there we go. Looks, these are so wonderful. I'm really, really excited. And actually, one question while we have one more minute here. Could you talk? You mentioned when we were chatting beforehand about some of the volunteer stuff and the hours that are going back as a part of your partnership with group.
Right. Yeah, I didn't get to mention that to everyone. So, part of the work that we're doing with the Waterkeepers Alliance and Riverkeepers Alliance is, of course, when you specify these products, funds will go toward those organizations to do river and ocean cleanup, et cetera. But locally here, we're working with Riverkeeper Alliance here in Portland to designate a day where we're going to just kind of do a day of volunteering to clean up the Willamette and the Columbia, the riverbanks, and even just I think, Brittany, you said you've
Yep.
participated in such an activity before, and that entailed basically pulling
Yep.
trash out of the
Yeah. And
river and
just,
stuff
yeah,
like
on
that.
the shoreline, especially, and yeah, stuff that's just floating on the edges and getting it out of there. So we've got such a
Hmm.
beautiful river here that, yeah, we want to
Right.
take care of it. And I think that's amazing that Mohawk Group is investing in that, not only, nationally, but also on the local level, having like that.
Hmm. Exactly. So as we have that date nailed down, it'll be in the mid fall before it gets too rainy and wet. I'll put that out on social and make sure that Source knows to
Awesome.
blast it
Great.
too. So
Well, it looks like we're at time, but thank you all for joining us. We'll be back again next week with another Source Snack Break at the same time. Thank you, everybody who tuned in today, and thank you, Beth, for sharing these beautiful products and photos. I love it. I'm really excited to see what people do with them. So thank you all for your time, and I hope you have a great rest of your
thank you.
week. Bye.
Thank you.